1041 WCOE. Thanks, Emily, for that local news update on a Friday afternoon as we welcome you into our broadcast. And right out of the gate, we're also live on mixtv.tv as well for the Mix Afternoon Drive because we have a very special interview. If you've been a part of the Cleveland, Chattanooga area for any length of time at all, the person we're getting ready to talk to, he is an icon, not only in the radio world, but also in the TV world. Our partners at Local 3 News, I'm talking about David Carroll, a news anchor there, and plus so much more. We're going to welcome him in right now. So, David, how you doing this afternoon?
Man, I'm great. You read that introduction just like I wrote it. You pronounced icon right. I'm just thrilled. That worked out great.
You know, sometimes when you have a script, it works out, and sometimes, you play a Ron Burgundy, right?
Exactly. Some people call me an icon. You said icon, so we're all good.
It's
good. Great to talk to you on this cloudy day, and this brightens my day getting to be on Mix 104.1.
You know, when you say it, David, it sounds so much better than it does when Steve or myself says it. It just kind of rolls off for you, doesn't it?
Well, Steve says I taught him everything that he knows, and I'm not sure if that's, an allegation or it's supposed to be a compliment. I'm not sure, really.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, in this community, that would be definitely a big compliment. This community sure loves Steve and what he has been a part of this community. But David, I remember, growing up, and when I say growing up, even as an adult, listening to you in radio, and I remember I've always had a desire to be in radio myself, even when I was in my 20s and much earlier in my life. And I always remembered someone like you that I thought, you know what, man, if I could ever do something, I'd like to be like David Carroll, because you're just one of those people that is relatable when you're either on the air or doing a news story there at Local 3. You're someone that I think that we kind of get away from these days. I feel like you're talking to me instead of talking at me. Does that make sense to you?
Well, that's my goal. That's my goal, and I appreciate you saying that. I do see and hear, people on TV and radio who sound like they're speaking to you from on the mountain, and they're looking down upon people, and here, this is the news, listen to me. And I've never cared for that style, so I've always tried to be the guy who is on radio or TV, just having a conversation with you, and that's the way I've always looked at it. For some people, talking into a microphone or into a camera is weird, and it was that way for me at one time, because it just is. You're talking into an object instead of looking at someone in the eyes. But I've a lot of my heroes in broadcasting when I was growing up were able to sort of get past that object and relate directly to listeners and viewers. So if I'm able to do that, then that's a good day.
It's one of those things when you talk about being relatable, that's such an important part of being a on air, whether that's radio or TV personality. Just being relatable, just someone that they feel like your family, and that's just such an important thing. I kind of walk me through here. One of the things that I'm always curious about. I know you called in to talk about your book, and we're going to get to that. I promise, David. But talk to me about the transition from radio to TV. I think you've been at Local 3 since about is it 1987? Am I right or am I wrong on that?
That is correct. Got out of radio in the 80s and switched over to TV, and radio was and is my first love. I dabbled in radio again until just a few months ago doing some weekend stuff. Radio is just, to me, so pure and so basic in the sense that, you're at the station right now, and you have control of what's being said and done and played on your broadcast. And if you do something great this afternoon, then that's because you made it happen. And if you goof up or do something bad, well, again, you made that happen. But you're in control. And so probably the biggest challenge for me switching from radio to TV is that when I switched over to TV, suddenly I had no more control, because I can stand there and hold a microphone and be in front of a camera, but I don't really control, how the signal gets out, how the picture looks, if the right tape plays, all that stuff. There are about 10 or 12 people along that chain who can either make me look really good or who can make me look really dumb. So I had to learn to kind of relinquish that control And needless to say, I can certainly, make myself look dumb on my own. But there are a lot of people who are up and down the line who make the television broadcast possible. Whereas in radio, it's just the way I love it. It's so basic, and it's immediate. It's right now. Something big happened in Cleveland right now. You'd stop this conversation and go to that, as
Right.
you should. And let's hope nothing like that happens. But that's the immediacy of radio. And I've always loved being able to communicate to somebody who's just riding in their car or sitting in their kitchen or wherever they may be. That's just a wonderful way to communicate.
Some of my favorite broadcasters, too, are those that do sports that can just really paint the picture and make you feel like you're there in attendance. And that's a special talent as well in radio. And when you're doing play-by-play on radio and you're sitting there and you're listening, of course, that goes back to many, many years ago. But still, even today, when our broadcasters are doing a high school game or something along those lines, listening on the radio, for them to be able to have to be able to paint the picture, make you feel like you're there, you feel like you're a part of what's going on with the action, that's a special talent too. Don't you agree?
Oh, I do. And, if there is such a thing as reincarnation, I want to come back as the play-by-play guy for the Atlanta Braves.
There you go.
I've been a fan since I was, 9 years old. And I love, the guys who do play-by-play for the Braves on radio and TV. But talk about a dream job. That never worked out for me. You have to kind of start out in the minor leagues of baseball and work your way up. It's quite a ladder to climb. But what a great job. And you're right. They do paint a picture. The guys who do it on radio, especially, you can give me any kind of outdoor labor to do, trimming weeds, mowing the grass, picking up brush, whatever. But if I've got my headphones on, listening to a Braves game, I forget all that. I just kind of go through the process, do that labor. But that Braves game is pictured in my mind and makes hard work, disappear. I don't even think about it.
Yeah, again, we're speaking with David Carroll, Local 3 anchor there, part of so many other things that he has done with his life, all the accolades that you have been awarded with and honored with. I know those are things that you cherish. It's not what gets you up in the morning, but it does feel good to kind of get some recognition at times from some higher-ups, right?
It is, and I'll tell you the best recognition, I just got out of a Food City store near my home just a few minutes ago, and just people who come up and say the nicest things. I watch you every afternoon. Somebody said to me about 15 minutes ago, "Can't wait to see the news tonight. I watch you every day." And I said, "Well, you know what? I'm off today. I've got an important appointment to call Mix 104.1, so I'm not going to go to work today."
Man,
I didn't exactly say that, but anyway,
it sounds good, right? It's radio talk.
It did, but whenever people are so nice and they're very grateful for what we do, and we have, I'm just so blessed to work, like you work for what I consider to be a family operation. So do I, and we both work for companies that value us as people and treat us nicely and make sure we have the equipment we need. So I'm just thankful. I've lived a blessed life, believe me.
David, I'm going to get to the book here in just a second. That really is the call, the conversation for the reason for the call, I should say. But you cannot get you on air without exploring some of these things because, again, you've been such an icon and person in our lives for so many people for so many years in radio and TV. I just love these type of conversations. I've got to ask you, from your radio days, I got to ask you, favorite group of all times that you would play on a regular basis, maybe favorite song if that's something that comes to mind, and if you ever had a catchphrase that was yours that you just kind of threw out there more than not when you were on the radio.
I never really developed a catchphrase. Back in my morning radio days especially, I attempted to be funny. Every now and then I might get lucky and make somebody laugh. Never really had a catchphrase per se. I'll be honest with you, I grew up listening to some great radio people, and if somebody could be jailed for copying and stealing from other people on the radio, then I should be at Alcatraz or Sing Sing or somewhere, because I just basically kind of took those traits from the people that I felt were so good when I was growing up and adopted them for myself. So I wish I could say I was really original and thought up a bunch of great catchphrases and lines, but I was really just trying to emulate, people who I thought were great communicators. As far as favorite songs and artists, I'll tell you the one that I just heard one today that I would have to put right up there. I mean, these people haven't had a hit in 50 years. And in fact, the lead singer is still out there on the road, but most of his bandmates are gone. But, the music of Creedence Clearwater Revival,
oh, yeah,
from around 1970, give or take a couple of years, has aged so well. And to this day, when I hear, Bad Moon Rising or Green River, Looking Out My Back Door, Rolling on the River, Proud Mary, I could go on and on. They had this amazing run of hits for 2 or 3 years, just one after another. And to this day, and I've heard those songs probably thousands of times, I will crank it up, sing along. I just really appreciate artists who created songs that are timeless, that are loved by 1, 2, 3 generations so far. My kids grew up with CCR. Their kids will probably be exposed to it too. So I guess if you had to put me on a desert island with, one greatest hits CD, CCR and perhaps the Beach Boys, I could listen to their hits over and over.
Wow. Maybe we have to put you out there with an 8-track. Maybe that's what we'd have to do. But anyway.
I've probably got one in the garage somewhere.
Again, David Carroll joins us from Local 3. But, David, the reason for your call today is I know that you're going to be right up to the north of us in our friendly city of Athens, Tennessee, promoting your book, I Won't Be Your Scapegoat. And so I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about, I guess it would be a book signing that's coming up, and get those details.
Yeah, it's something I really enjoy doing. About 10 or 12 years ago, I wrote my first book about local Chattanooga area radio and television broadcasters, and didn't know it at the time, but that would sort of begin my journey of writing several books in the last 10, 12 years. And it's just so much fun to be able to start with nothing, start from scratch, and create a book that people will cherish on their shelves or their coffee tables or their, bedroom side table, wherever they may read. And I've been very fortunate to have written 4 books so far, and they're all very different. And so tomorrow I'll be at Food City in Athens from 11 to 12 tomorrow morning, and I'll have these books available, and I can sign them, sell them, the whole 9 yards. But the main 2 I'll have in stock with me tomorrow are my 2 most recent ones. One I wrote last year called Hello Chattanooga, Famous People Who Have Visited the Tennessee Valley. That's this great big 700-page book filled with 200 pictures of everybody from rock and roll stars to presidents to superstar athletes, actresses, actors, you name it. Everybody who's famous, who's visited about a 60-mile radius of Chattanooga, including Cleveland and Athens, are in this book. There's a big index in the back. So, for instance, if you wanted to go in there tomorrow and see when Jimmy Carter was in this area, well, you look in the back, look up Jimmy Carter, and it tells you every page, and then you can see the pictures and dates he appeared here. And the same goes for Bruce Springsteen, Babe Ruth, any famous person who's visited here. So I'm very proud of that book. It's made a lot of people happy. And the brand new book that I'm out with this year is totally different. It's a small paperback. It's what I call a gift idea, really, for people who like to laugh. I Won't Be Your Scapegoat is a collection of hundreds of mistakes that you and I and everybody else make on social media, texting, tweeting, signs you see outside stores, church bulletins, signs you see in restaurants. But there's big laughs on every page, and that's the intent. Is just in the world we live in today, we're not laughing very much. And this book is a nice little break and gives people hundreds of laughs. So I'm very proud of that.
It's one of the things I know that when your book first came out, you brought a couple of copies up and left one here with Steve. And this book stays in our studios. And I'm going to tell on myself because a lot of times, if you come in, you being in radio, TV, you understand sometimes when you get ready to go on air, sometimes you maybe not in the best of spirits because you can't flip on your mic and just turn it on and turn it off every single time. So there'll be days, this book is laying, and about 10 minutes before I'm going to go on the air, if it's one of those days where you just feel like you're beat, I'll come pick this book up and read just a couple of pages or a couple of inserts out of the book. I'll start chuckling, and then it just changes my whole demeanor. Like you said, this book is something that'll be a great gift for people that enjoy being happy, that like you said, that is maybe makes fun of themselves. Who I think we all should make fun of ourselves. Life would be so much easier if we did. And this will be a great gift idea, and you're going to be able to pick it up and meet David Carroll tomorrow, get the book signed, and make that a great Christmas present this year. But, David, I love the book. I really, really do.
Well, I appreciate it, and what you've said is something I've heard repeated in recent weeks. I've had people tell me the nicest things about it. One guy bought one for his brother and sister for gifts, and he wrote right in the front of it, "Do not read all this book. Don't read the whole book at one time. You'll hurt yourself from laughing." And another person, one of my former teachers, said, "If laughter is the best medicine, this book needs to be in every doctor's waiting room."
Amen.
So, little things like that have really made me feel good about it. The book came about when I write a newspaper column that's in the Cleveland paper and the Athens paper.
Yep.
And I started finding these little mistakes people make, and then people would send me more. So it developed into a series of columns over the years. And somebody finally said, you have so many of those, you should just make it a book. So I did, and it turned out great. It's made a lot of people happy, and I'll tell you, the people in Athens are always so nice to me, so that's why I'm so glad to be at Food City there tomorrow from 11 to 12. And I'm also working on a Cleveland Food City appearance before Christmas, so hopefully I'll get to do one there too.
All right. Well, if you do, you got to let us know. We'll definitely get the word out for that and come out and maybe see if Steve can come out and hang out with you for a minute, if that's what you would like.
Nothing would be better. And you could even come along too, because that would make it twice as nice.
Well, good
But
deal.
yeah, the Food City people have been so nice to allow me to do this. They always find a place for me near the front of the store, and we try not to get in the way of serious shoppers. But as I've told people, if you're looking for a nice gift, a little stocking stuffer, especially with this new book, for someone who has everything, it's like, what am I going to get her for Christmas?
Right.
Well, if she doesn't have my books, hey, there you go. So, problem solved.
Another book, I know it's an earlier book of yours that has gotten a lot of accolades as well, as Volunteer Bama Dog. Talk to me a little, because that's still available. Is it still available, David? Am I speaking out of turn?
No, it's still available on my website,
Okay.
ChattanoogaRadioTV.com. So if someone is unable to come out to these book signings, you can order any of my books at Chattanooga Radio TV. And I know that's a mouthful, but because I tell people radio came before TV. So ChattanoogaRadioTV.com. And I do ship them from my home and sign them, to whoever you like me to autograph them to. But I'll tell you, my first book that I did 12 years ago, I can't believe it, but it's still alive and well and in stores, and I sell it online. And for those of you who grew up watching Chattanooga TV or listening to Chattanooga radio, and you're familiar with names like Miss Marcia, Luther, Bob Brandy, all these legends, Harry Thornton, the people we grew up watching and listening to, that's my pictorial history of local broadcasting, and it's also a fun gift idea.
Yeah, back when I was a kid, I always wanted to go sit on Rebel, but I never got the opportunity to.
You and me both. And pretty much any time I present these books to a club or something, I'll mention that, and I'll say, who got to be on the Bob Brandy show, or who got to be on Miss Marcia's show? And 80 hands go up. I'm like, man, I'm the only one who didn't get to go on. So I'm glad there's another one.
Yeah, but I didn't ever get to sit on Rebel, and it was you threw the softball at the old milk carton. Is that right? The container.
I think you threw a ball into a barrel.
Barrel.
And
okay.
If you threw the ball into the barrel, and again, keep in mind I'm like 8, 9 years old watching this at home. If you threw the ball into the barrel, you would win a box of Little Debbie's.
Yep.
And you know what? When I was 8 or 9 years old, that was like a bag of gold. Winning
sure
Little
was.
Debbie's.
Oh,
so it still is, frankly.
You got that right. What an icon in our community area as well. Again, David Carroll's been joining us by phone this afternoon. So gracious to take a few minutes out of his afternoon and talk to us about a book signing he's going to be doing at Food City in Athens tomorrow. David, you said that was from, what did you say, 11 to 1?
No, 11 to 12 tomorrow.
11 to 12. I was trying to extend your stay there, as you can tell. So 11 to 12 tomorrow.
If there are enough people in line, I'll stick around.
Okay, how about that? Yeah, 11 to 12 at the Food City there in Athens tomorrow. Pick up those stocking stuffers, meet David, and you're just going to have a great time. David, I believe that we could sit here and talk for the next 2 hours, but you know how radio time is. It costs money. So I guess for Steve's sake, I probably should get ready to move along here.
Yeah, I think Steve's at home now giving you the wrap, like
Yes.
waving that finger around. Okay, that's enough.
Let's
That's enough.
wrap it up.
But I'm honored to have been able to spend some time with you this afternoon. And again, y'all just keep up the great work, and I hope y'all know how proud we are to be a partner of Mix 104.
We definitely appreciate you, David, and hope you have hundreds of people show up in Athens tomorrow for your book signing from 11 to 12. There, get the book. I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, and plus the other book that David was talking about a little bit earlier. Both of those will be great gift ideas. He'll sign it, take a picture, and do all those things. And will you kiss babies as well? I'm not sure if you can do that, but would that be an option?
I don't know if they want me to. that might be one of those YouTube moments. Hey, get away from my baby.
Get away from my baby. Well, David.
But I tell you what, sometimes people say, how do I pay for it? And I'll say, well, I take cash, check, credit cards, hugs. They go, really? I go, oh yeah. If you don't have any money on you, let me just get a hug. You pay me when you get the check in the mail. That's fine.
That's it. All right. Well, David, we're so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished in your illustrious career in radio and TV. We hope you have many, many more years on Local 3. I love, like everybody else tells you, love watching and getting that. You and Cindy are just a home run duo. Whenever the news comes on, we know we're going to get shot right down the middle, and you guys are going to tell it just the way it needs to be told. We appreciate that.
And I'll let you close with a joke here.
Okay.
Hey, talking about Cindy Sexton. Ask me how she's doing.
How is Cindy doing, David?
Well, she's pretty good, but except for that back problem, and you're supposed to say,
What
really?
what back problem is that, David?
Well, she's been carrying me for 36 years, so it's tough.
Somehow I knew we were going there. I've kind of heard that one, but that was a good one to leave us with. Well, David, enjoy the rest of your afternoon off, and we'll see you tomorrow in the friendly city of Athens.
You got it, man. Thanks again.
All right. Boy, that's our good friend David Carroll. I could talk to him all day. I mean, he's got stories, and we didn't even really touch on any stories. Again, we will definitely say go get his book. Austin had that up on Mix TV a while ago. One of the two books he will be selling and signing tomorrow. I Won't Be Your Scapegoat. If you need a good laugh, especially during the holiday season, grab this book. We'll get one for yourself. Get one for a friend. This will be a great book also to give to someone maybe at work that needs to do that. And if you're looking for the website, if you can't make it to Athens tomorrow, ChattanoogaRadioTV.com is the website that he will sell all of his books at. Again, ChattanoogaRadioTV.com. That was our friend David Carroll with Local 3. Going to take just a quick break. We're going to come back in just a moment. We'll get traffic and weather coming up, so stay with us. Mix 104.1.